And welcome back to the Houston Texans franchise rebuild. Here today we have preseason action, all the highlights and everything. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. I hope you're all having a great day. Please leave a like, comment down below what you thought of today's action, and don't forget to subscribe. After an off season where we went out there and made a boatload of trades, this is the roster that we're going to be not really rocking with just yet. We're going to fill out we're going to see the youth of this roster. You know, in the first round, we drafted Gino Duvall here, one of the fastest playmakers, and, you know, we're kind of expecting him to potentially become the number 3 receiver. I don't know if it's going to happen this season, but we have a ton of receiving depth across the board. And defensively, you know, we didn't really make too many new additions. We kind of brought back the same group, but, you know, bringing in probably one of the more intriguing, John Dawson here, you know, the big defensive tackle with 99 strength here. We have a lot of intriguing prospects here for this preseason. You know, we've changed up the offensive line. We have 2 new starters here. That's really the most of the change across this team. You know, across the board, this roster has gotten more younger, and I'm hoping that entering into year 5 now, that we can take the next necessary step. The receiving group here is probably going to be the most where I'm going to kind of keep my eye on the most. You know, we brought back Calvin Ridley, we brought in Kendrick Bourne, 2 vets to really kind of make some type of an impact, but we have 4 young wide receivers that are all intriguing prospects, and Duvall deserves an opportunity. He's a first-round pick. We drafted him for a reason. You know, when you look across the board, you know, we brought in Trey McBride to help out Richard Palmer here. You know, how is this tight end group going to handle, you know, this offensive line now with the change, with bringing in Scott Washington? Could Troy Agnew make any sort of noise here? You know, who's going to be that other defensive lineman here? You know, we have Dwight here, we have Stephen Dalton, and David Elliott with John Dawson here. You know, which one of these young defensive linemen going to get an opportunity here? We also brought in Sebastian Joseph Day here to really booster up our run defense here. I think he's going to add, you know, an excellent run stopper. That's the reason we brought him in. But we'll see how really this plays out here for this team. There's not too much competition across the board. You know, it's mostly just kind of figuring out the bottom of the roster, if there's anyone that really stands out. You know, I did bring in Teddy Bridgewater to help out with any sort of development. You know, same, I guess running back is kind of like, you know, would we keep 4 backs? I don't know. You know, we brought in Devon Wooden. You know, we traded for Pat Vernon. You know, who's going to really stand out? And that's really going to be the whole point of the preseason. So we start out here with the New York Football Giants here, who they drafted with either the first or the second pick. I believe the first pick, a new quarterback. But let's go get into the first preseason action. There will be some commentating. There will be some just plays. A lot of this type of episode is kind of just more or less just showing you guys and me talking about the bottom of the roster, but we'll go through this like a normal game, but we're gonna go through all 3 games in this one episode. And welcome to MetLife Stadium here in New Jersey, not in New York. It's the New York Giants versus the Houston Texans for the first preseason action here, entering into year 5. And what are really the question marks for this Houston team? And I would say the biggest one is to young quarterback Mason Pryor. Can he take the next necessary step for his team? He regressed last year, throwing a lot of turnovers. And can he get back to really where we saw him play at his highest potential, which was in year 2 of his career, where he threw not that many turnovers and threw more touchdowns. So hopefully this season he can get back into his spot. For this New York Giants team, well, they have been very much underperforming over the last few years, trying to figure out the quarterback position. They just drafted a new quarterback, so we'll get to see the rookie quarterback in this ball game here. We have a lot of young defensive star talent. We have a lot of veterans, and hopefully we can take the next necessary step here. Richard Palmer, he's definitely one of those players that I am very excited about entering, I believe, in his 3rd season. So hopefully we'll get to see a lot of this young talent show off a little bit. The Giants will start off with the football here, and here comes, I believe, Ryan Bradshaw, the fourth-year quarterback for the New York Giants, a 79 overall. He's underperformed here in New York. He's trying to get something under his belt. They just drafted his replacement here, so we'll see what he can do here in his fourth season, though. As New York will start with the football here at their own 25-yard line here, and for this defensive starting unit here, we're just hoping they can really continue to show off a little bit. John Franklin Myers is expected to take a big role here. We extended him to a 2-year contract. I know it's probably not a fan favorite giving him that type of contract, but I'm hoping that he can really step up here. But overall, we're kind of keeping the band together here for this defense, so that's something to keep your eye on, you know, keeping this whole secondary together. And our secondary did at times struggle here. Here comes Bradshaw, and this passes off the mark here for CJ Hill, and that's gonna force a punt here. Well, we dealt with a penalty here, but here comes Mason Pryor. Pryor will start at his own 10-yard line here. We're also kind of keeping this band together here with our offense, as this pass will go to Nico Collins here. Really the most of the change across this offense is this offensive line. A new starting center, a new starting right guard here. No more Nate Davis. Mitch has retired here, so we're hoping some of these younger linemen can kind of step up here, and that's really the expectation here. You know, as I entered into this past off season, you know, I was really hoping to get younger, to get some good prospects to help out this team. And, you know, hopefully it can really work in our favor as Nico Collins reels down 2 passes here for 25. But this will be also the first time since year 1 for Dameon Pierce to get the boat or the load of the carries here. You know, no more Tony Pollard. Pollard is no more on this roster. So, and I don't think we really have a clear and obvious backup running back to take pressure off of him. So, you know, it's up to Pierce to stay both healthy and consistent here in both the passing end of the running game, which I definitely think that he can handle here. You know, I am more than confident that number 31 can handle that. 3rd down and 5 now. Pryor looks to throw. Here comes Richard Palmer. And Palmer last year quietly had a fantastic season, in my opinion. All of his touchdowns came to the red zone. It felt like he made a lot of important, impactful plays. And don't forget this, we still have the duo here of both Paul Wilkerson and Nico Collins. Those 2 playmakers can make plays across the board. It's just being able to get the ball into their hands here, as Richard Palmer can't hold this pass down. But of course, who's going to be the number 3 receiver here? Will it be Calvin Ridley, who last year showed a little bit of a promise? I went through his stats during the off-season episode. But can he show any sort of promise? Could it be Kendrick Bourne? Could it be Gino Duvall here? I don't know. And that's going to be the whole point of this preseason, as we're going to look for Wilkerson, and that pass is off the mark. It's 4th down. Well, it is the preseason. We will go for it here on 4th down and 7 here. Pryor needs the conversion, and he's going to quickly get this ball out there for Nico Collins. One-handed caught, touchdown, 42 yards. What a job there for Nico Collins, beating Matt Callaway there. That's the rookie defender in the cornerback position here, but Nico Collins right off the line beat the rookie defender, and he got down the field and scored an easy touchdown. And here comes Teddy Bridgewater as we enter here into the second quarter. Bridgewater will start at his own 26-yard line. This will be the first action with Duvall out there. Bridgewater is the backup quarterback here, and he's failing to rush there. That's Carl Brooks. We know him. He's an ex-Houston Texan. We traded him a couple of seasons ago to the New York Giants, as we were able to put up 7 points. And New York was just able to get a touchdown of their own here. And now we're going to see if veteran quarterback Bridgewater can do anything. And he's right now going backwards. That's not what you want to see here. I'm debating about even keeping 3 quarterbacks. Let's see if we could get this ball to number 82 here. As Bridgewater's in the shotgun, he takes the snap, he looks to throw, and we're going to take this shot here. Duvall, the receiver, can't reel it in. Rookie couldn't catch it. It's 4th down. We'll go for it. Why not? as it's 4th down and 21 here for Bridgewater, needing this conversion. Bridgewater takes the snap, he looks to throw, and he's gonna let it rip here. He wants Duval yet again, and he almost reels it down. It's incomplete. As here comes the backup defense here, and you know, there's a couple notable guys. You see Dawson out there, he's probably the most notable name here. In terms of rookie defenders that are intriguing here, but our rookie defense gets there. Great job. And I don't know who that is. Recovered by Andrews, one of our, I believe is an undrafted free agent that we brought in. And this is the rookie quarterback, for either the 2nd overall pick or the 1st overall pick out there, and he just got sacked, fumble here, Saunders. So now we get to see Bridgewater yet again. And why not? Let's accommodate this drive here. One more time here. Bridgewater under center, handed the ball up to Ronald Jones. The veteran back loses 2 yards, and this backup offense is going nowhere. Bridgewater trying to show if he has any sort of job security. He looks to throw. He wants Duval. He got Duval here. The 1st round pick reels it down for an easy 6. That's a 3rd down and 6 here for Bridgewater. The veteran looks to throw, looking for anyone, not liking anything. He wants Pat Vernon, the young back, and it's off the mark. Well, you can definitely see why. This is the backup team here. They look all over the place. Here comes 4th down. Here's Bridgewater, stands strong in the pocket, and he can't get that ball to Ridley on 4th down. It's another turnover on downs. And here comes the New York Giants inside their own, inside of Houston's 33. And Saunders finds the receiver open here. Is there future potentially here in New York here? A lot of expectations. Right now, they only have 2 quarterbacks on the roster. And this pass over the middle for a 1st down and more. So we're just trying to see which young defender can make some type of an impact in this game. We already saw one big play here, as this play there goes to Christopher Lockhart, the backup strong safety. We're gonna really see this youth of this roster here, which I'm very excited about in these 3 preseason games. This pass again over the middle, and our defense wraps him up very quickly. As it will be a 3rd down and 10 here. New York trying to avoid the field goal attempt. Got to get inside the 5. Looks to throw. Plenty of time in the pocket. Looks down the field. Caught here, and our defense stops him right before the marker. Will they go for it here? It is preseason. I would. Why the hell not? And they won't. They'll set up for 3. And here, the first preseason action. The Houston Texans will be beating the New York Giants 35-27. In a ball game where 3rd quarter we really popped off there. You know, not a ton of surprises here. Nico Collins, he caught a touchdown. Our starting offense and starting defense looked excellent, as you expect, but Gino Duval did catch a touchdown and really did impress me. But other players that impressed me were Devon Wood and as well as Pat Vernon. These 2 young running backs really showed a little bit of pop from the running back position, which is something that I definitely think we can't really underlook here. You know, it's definitely an important part of this offense that might be missing without what's his name, Tony Pollard. You know, overall, I would sit here and say that both Daniel Williams, I think, to me, he proved that he's our backup quarterback. Teddy Bridgewater, he struggled. Gabe Allwright, the undrafted rookie quarterback that we brought in, he looked good out there at times. He threw 2 interceptions though. But I mean, Pat Vernon popped one for a long touchdown. Same with Devon Wooden. Both of these guys rushed for, you know, a grand total over almost 150 yards, 2 touchdowns. Very impressed with their days. Gino Duval caught a touchdown. He looked good out there. Richard Palmer also did as well. No one else stand out. I mean, Tyler Miller, again, he looked good out there at receiver, even though he caught 2 passes. Ronald Jones, I think he struggled this week. I don't know why. The offensive line, Ben Powers and Derek Charles each allowed a sack, but not really too worried about them. Defensively, John Dawson got his first sack. Quan Lamb here, he's trying to save his job. And Tommy Sharp each got a sack, and then Terry Fleming's here, the undrafted rookie corner, got an interception. Here are all the TFLs. Overall, week 1 of the preseason, we look good. Starting offense looked the best, as we expected. And welcome to week 2 of the preseason. Here today, it's the Detroit Lions versus the Houston Texans. As we're entering into the second preseason matchup, the Houston Texans last week beat the New York Giants in a very convincing manner. And, we got to see the two backs play very good in week 1. Our two younger backs, Pat Vernon and Wooden, to get 2 long rushing touchdowns. I'm hoping this week we can kind of see a little bit more production out of them. I want to see more from Ronald Jones, and I want to see if there's any separation room in terms of this receiving group, especially for the number 3 spot. Also, for the defense, getting David Elliott back. This is his first action since the middle of the season last year. We really need David Elliott to stay healthy this year, and he's going to play a lot this year or a lot in this preseason, these last 2 preseason games, because you know what? We need to see if he's even worth starting right now. Dwight Pianzo last year as a rookie got 8 sacks, and we know what he can provide for this interior, this defense. So, Elliott needs to go out there and prove that he's even better than him. He's been in the league for 4 years now, or 3 years now. So there's a little bit more question marks in and around the team. It looks like we're going to start off with the football here. So let's go and check out Mason Pryor. And here comes Mason Pryor leading out his Houston offense. He's going to get a lot of playing time this year. He's our franchise quarterback, 83 overall. He did play a little bit last week. They're not showing us the last week's stats, but that's okay here. He's bringing out the number 1 offense so far. Not too many question marks here besides at the number 3 receiver. And really, who's going to be that primary number 2 running back? So, hopefully this week we can get some more answers here, as we'll start with a run here with Dameon Pierce, who we will expect him to be the bell cow this campaign. And there's a lot of expectations for him, but it's mostly on a bounce back season here for Mason Pryor that we're kind of looking for, and I think he has the weapons to do so. I think he has the offensive line to do so. It's really determining on both the difficulty of this schedule. We'll go through that at the end of the episode, but also it's determined on really play calling on myself. I got to be on my A game this campaign, and hopefully we can do so as we kind of going with this run pass approach here. Maybe we try to do a little pass here outside for Nico Collins. Here comes Collins, good hands right there on the right around the 50. And this will be also a full season with this new offensive playbook, and I'm hoping that it can take this team to the next level here. It really did a lot for us last season. We were able to run the football, I think, better and get the ball in our playmakers' hands a little bit easier. It's just now we need to figure out which plays give us the big play potential, as this pass here over the middle for Wilkerson is off the mark. And we'll go for it here on 4th down and 4 here. Pryor, ball close to midfield, takes the snap, looks to throw. He wants Ridley, the veteran receiver, and Calvin Ridley is so reliable. And that's really right now why would be in line, the starting slot receiver, is because of how reliable he is. But can Duval, what's his name? I forget the other receiver's name. Kendrick Bourne. Can one of them kind of prove that they can also be important, as this is going to be a big time sack? Justin Stern with the big sack. As Pryor will stand the shotgun here after the 4-loss sack here. He looks to throw here, and he's going down the field here. Collins, who reels it down. And I'm expecting more things from Nico. He's an excellent receiver, always open here. And now it's goal to go here for this Houston offense. Goal to go now here. Pryor in the shotgun. Takes the snap. He looks to throw. And he wants end zone. Collins, who reels it down. Touchdown, Houston. As we will strike first here in preseason week 2. And here comes the first ever draft pick in our franchise, Zach Francier, who has really regressed over the last few seasons. He's entering into year 4, or year 5, excuse me. Or yeah, year 4. And, he has not lived up to the par of being the first overall pick, and hopefully he can have a bounce back season. And when you look at this defense across the board, like I said last week, we kept the band together for our secondary and for our linebackers. It's now really up to this defensive line because, we have the 3 young guys. We have Elliott, we have Dalton, we have Pianzo. Which one of those 3 guys in this rotation can really make an impact? And I'm hoping that one or all of them really could. You know, there's higher expectations here on John Franklin Myers. You know, now he's going to be a full-time starter. He was a rotational pass rusher last season, and I'm hoping that he can really take the next necessary step to be a focal point for our defense. Now, I think our defense has a little bit less question marks because I think we have a lot more talent on that side of the ball. But for our offense, can they take the next necessary step? As that's Aiden Hutchinson with a big-time sack here at the 10. And these down and distance here for this Houston offense is something that we want to avoid this up-and-coming campaign. Pryor looks to throw, and he wants to take a deep shot here with Wilkerson. Can Paul Wilkerson make a play? And he just can't. So it'll be 3rd down and 20 here at the 10-yard line. Pryor, play fake. He looks to throw, and he wants Nico Collins, and Collins reels it down, but he's just a yard shy. Well, why not? Let's do some punting action here. This is Randy Moore here, who we drafted, I believe, in the 6th round. And I kind of fucked up the punt here, but Randy Moore is our new rookie kicker here. I have high expectations. We don't do a lot of punt returning commentary, but I might as well here in the preseason. I kind of want to finish here my thoughts here on this defense. You know, we have the talent here, especially in the secondary. We had 3 players or 4 players in the top 10 of defensive back of the year. You know, I'm hoping these guys can take the next necessary steps across the board. You know, keeping Jabril Peppers was very important. But like I said, it's up to the health of David Elliott. It's up to the health of Stephen Dalton. Can some of these younger guys that, you know, produced last year stay at the similar level or take the next necessary step here? You know, I do think that this is very much our window will close at the end of this campaign. And so, you know, if we can't win, it's gonna, our team is, in terms of keeping a lot of these, you know, cornerstone young talented players, it's going to be hard. But it's going to be a 3rd down and 5 here. Zach Fran trying to keep his Detroit offense out on the field. He looks to throw, slings it over the middle. It's going to be caught here. Williams with a big time reception. Now that is one thing that I am debating about here is where could Marcus Cook play? You know, Cook had played on the outside for the last few seasons now. And I do think he does. He has the speed to handle it, but he at times he has struggled against the top tier corners or receivers, excuse me. So, you know, he might get a little bit more playing time in the slot. We put Adoree Jackson on the outside. I think he can handle that just fine. Those 2 guys might switch around here, as there is Jabril Peppers. And, you know, Pepper's job, you know, it's not that it's on the line or anything, but I do think that we need to get Christopher Lockhart a little bit more playing time. I definitely think he could be a very much of an asset to our defense, and, you know, who knows? And this play here will be an interception for Derek Stingley. And hopefully, and this is something we have not commentated too many times over the last few seasons, and hopefully this year he can kind of put back up his rookie numbers. And here in the 2nd week of the preseason, the Houston Texans have lost to the Detroit Lions 31-14 in a ball game where, you know, we really never get anything going really on offense. You know, with the 2nd strings and the 3rd and the 4th strings, but you know, defense, they played okay. They had their moments of weakness, you know. They made some particular plays, but not too many. Daniel Williams, I think he just had a bad day today, which is completely fine. I mean, there's 5 turnovers that we gave up, so we really didn't run the football particularly well. You know, I decided to give a majority of the touches to Ronald Jones this week, and I don't think he performed that great. You know, Williams, 11 for 24. You know, we took our deep shots with him. It didn't help. Jones, less than 4 yards a carry. You know, Devon Wooden didn't get too many touches. We really passed the football a little bit more than I wanted to. I mean, Brock Morgan, he really stood out yet again. I know this stat line here isn't that impressive, but all 3 of his catches were all contested, and it intrigues me to keep him on this roster entering into year 3, of course. You know, we've got plenty of receivers involved, just no really major standout. Obviously, Nico Collins. Tunsil allowed 2 sacks, which is unfortunate. Larry Young got an interception. We got 1 sack by Dalton. Few sacks allowed, but, you know, Derek Stingley, Larry Young, and Philip Ford each pick up a turnover. So preseason week 2 is over. As we now enter into week 3, where, you know, we're going to see a little bit more of the backups and a little bit more of the bottom of the roster. We kind of know the franchise cornerstone players. We just need to now see who's going to be these role players on the team. And welcome to the final preseason game. Here we go. Here in week 3, it's the Washington Commanders versus the Houston Texans. The Commanders throughout this franchise have really put together a very much of a quality roster. Sam Darnold has developed pretty nicely actually here. He's kind of had a career resurgence here in Washington, but you know, they're still trying to figure out their roster. For the Houston Texans, you know, right here, right now, we're trying to just figure out the bottom half of the roster, you know, trying to put last week behind us, you know, or last game's, you know, 5 turnovers. We will be seeing the starting offense, the starting defense, but we're going to head into probably closer to halftime or to the second half with this ball game to do some commentating with it. Because I kind of want to talk a little bit more about the backups, some role players. That's a lot of this week's going to be. So let's get into halftime here. And here at the beginning of the second half, Houston has a 17-10 lead here. And you know, we have a lot of backups in. We have a lot of rotational players, especially across our defensive line so far. You know, Dwight Pianzo has made a massive impact. He has actually the interception in this ball game. He also has a couple sacks here. He's been really much of a standout player from this defensive line, on this defense, even with the starters. And this pass off the hands of Brandon Smith here. But right now we're trying to just kind of figure out who can be, you know, the backup, you know, linebacker, the backup, you know, pass rusher, safety, corner, in a variety of different positions here. So, you know, a couple players, of course, to always keep an eye on, you know, is Dwight and, you know, what's his name, Brenton McLean. But, you know, we're forcing a quick 3-and-out here. Washington still has their #1 offense and defense out there, as we have more backups and role players, as McLean, as our starting punt returner as of right now, gets a okay return. And here comes Daniel Williams here. Williams will finally get some action in this game. You know, Williams will start at his own 36-yard line. You know, we got the rookie Duval out there, and we'll turn to Duval, and this pass is off the mark. And for this offense here, you know, we're looking at Tyler Miller here, Duval at the other receiver, Wooden here at running back, who's going to get the call here. And we're trying to figure out, you know, which one of these 2 young running backs might get a little bit more playing time, you know, in this up-and-coming season here. You know, I really like Woodington for his speed and athletic ability. It's just, can he make these type of catches and plays here? And, you know, this gives me a positive side here as Daniel Williams completes his first pass. We also have Brock Morgan out there. There's Vernon out there and Trey McBride at tight end. You know, we're really trying to see the youth of this roster. Some players that will get playing time, as McBride put the ball down, and I don't think this play is going to count as a fumble, but it's going to be returned for a touchdown if it stands. But, you know, McBride, for an example here, that's not a good image of him. Yep, it's overturned here. You know, he's going to be the backup tight end. He has the ratings to do so. That's probably his first mistake so far that I've seen, but you know, he's going to get playing time, and he has to be able to step up in these type of situations here, as Wooden's able to get the first down. And that's something else also I want to see from these young backs. Can they pick up these, you know, short yard gain it? And here we go, first fresh set of downs here, as Williams will go a little play action fake. He looks to throw here, and I kind of wanted Gino, but we couldn't get it to Duval. We'll settle for Tyler, who makes a tough reception. You know, all these receivers here, you know, they all make tough receptions. You know, Kendrick Bourne, you know, he was really making a good name for himself in the first half. He really showed off his hands and his ability. And unfortunately, it's gonna make whoever the six receivers are, it's going to be hard. And this pass over the middle is knocked down. We'll go for it here on 4th down. And of course, for Daniel Williams, he's trying to prove that he can be our full-time backup quarterback. And these are the type of plays he needs to make, and it's off the mark. And, maybe we will get to see a little bit of Teddy Bridgewater. And, if Bridgewater makes a little bit of a showing here in the fourth quarter, who knows? As we have a tied football game here in the third preseason game. And here comes rookie fullback dash quarterback Emmett Olsen. Now, Olsen here, we drafted in the 7th round. And he's been put into a position here at a 51 overall at quarterback. Can he make a play here to take us down the field? This is actually a very interesting spot here for Olsen because he's an interesting prospect. He does not have at all the best accuracies when you look across the ratings. His throw power, he's an excellent carrier and stuff, but let's get to throw accuracies. He's 86 throw power, 69 short. Everything's in the 60s here. But he's an interesting prospect, potentially a good reserved quarterback. And this is kind of where he has to shine here. Let's see if Olsen can do anything. Here we go. Olsen looks to throw. Now he's going to look to scramble, and this pass is almost intercepted. 2nd down and 10 here for the rookie quarterback, fullback, whatever you want to call him, the gadget. He looks to throw, scrambling now down the field, and it's going to be almost intercepted again. Well, here we go. 3rd down and 10 here for Olsen. He needs to get this conversion. Takes the snap. He looks to throw. He wants to ball on the sideline, and he just overthrows him. And why not? It's 4th down and 4 here. We might as well go for it. He has missed every single one of his passes. Except for one, excuse me. So it will be a 4th down and 4. He looks to throw. He's trying to get this ball here to Holt. And Leon Holt trying to help out his quarterback, and he can't. It's incomplete. Well, now the only thing that Washington has to do in the next 45 seconds is kind of get the ball a little bit down the field and set up for an easy chip shot field goal attempt. And here's the ball carry. And this will gain 6. We're not going to use any timeouts, and we'll just concede this as a loss. And here in the final preseason game, the Washington Commanders will be beating the Houston Texans 31-24 in a ball game where, we kind of just collapsed in the 4th quarter, and that's when we put out a majority of our backups, which does make a whole lot of sense on why, that wasn't enough. But Dwight Pianzo, I believe he registered an interception, 3 sacks, and a tackle for loss. We'll confirm those stats, but my goodness, he had himself a day. There were a couple. Gino, he looked excellent. Duvall, the 1st round pick, he looked excellent out there. There were a few standouts like those 2 young playmakers, and that's what we kind of wanted to see here. We got to see a lot of these quarterbacks here. Daniel Williams got a couple drives, but, Bridgewater showed that he could potentially, this is going to be really a question mark, is if we go with both Williams and Pryor, and if Pryor goes down, what really happens? And I don't know if, Emmett Olsen here really did enough to really impress me. He completed 1 pass for 7 yards. Devon Wooden, he struggled today, but that's okay. Pat Vernon kind of showed me that he can be the number 2 back. Trey McBride, he looked good out there as that solid number 2 tight end. Kendrick Bourne is making himself a tough decision to be made. Richard Palmer caught a touchdown, same with Tyler. 1 sack allowed, but yeah, Dwight had himself a day. Kevin Banks registered a sack, and here are the 4 tackles for loss. So, we have a lot of decisions to make, and let's go make those decisions for this 53-man roster. As we finish the preseason here, 1-2. Not a terrible preseason. That's completely fine with me. And here are the stats. We'll go through them fairly quickly. Pryor obviously looked the best. Daniel had his moments. Bridgewater actually also had his moments. All right, he was just an arm. But Pat Vernon and Devon Wooden both really stood out here to me. Ronald Jones didn't. I know Dameon Pierce, and I think that Pierce in the shotgun, that's just not his game. So I think one of these 2 guys will get an opportunity this year. Gino Duvall had 11 catches for 215 yards and 2 touchdowns. He looked excellent. I mean, he was the most productive receiver, and I'm happy about that. We got him a lot of playing time. and I'm happy to see that here. The sacks allowed, not too many, thankfully. Tunsil, Powers, and Derek, so the left side of the line struggled. Here are all the tackles for loss, and Dwight led us with 3 sacks. Hopefully he can bring that into the regular season. And then we got 5 interceptions. So we got to cut down this roster from 75 to 22, or to 52. So we have 22 cuts. So it's time to make all the tough decisions here. So we have decided to trade away Kendrick Bourne to the Baltimore Ravens for a 7th round pick, and with that final move has put us down to a 53-man roster. So what have we done here? We'll go through all the cuts, but we're sticking with 2 quarterbacks here, 3 running backs, and 2 fullbacks. We're gonna kind of see what happens here. You know, Holton, I think, can handle being the backup quarterback. You know, you guys can see these are going to be the 6 receivers, 3 tight ends, and we got plenty of offensive line depth, which is something that I was kind of prioritizing here. I'll show you guys where the current players on the current practice squad is. Quandre Lamb, Carl Watson, Leon Holt went to the practice squad, and a couple other players that were undrafted rookies that I found intriguing. As you guys noticed, Ronald Jones didn't make the 53-man roster. Here are all the cuts and moves we made. I decided to move Nate Hitchcock to center this season. Quandre Lamb got moved to the practice squad. And, you know, we moved Deshaun Baxter from right outside linebacker to left or something like that. I don't remember. Not too many major, like, standout cuts. Caleb McCary here, I guess he's kind of a standout. Same with Lucas Patrick. But I mean, other than that, same with Ronald Jones. Not many too surprises. I feel like, you know, we don't need Kendrick Bourne. He's kind of more like a luxury to have on the roster. And if we just generate right now the best lineup, this would be it. Though I don't know who's going to be the 3rd receiver, to be honest with you guys. It actually might be a little bit of, you know, Duval, Ridley, and Tyler. I think they all earned that. You know, same with even, honestly, Brock Morgan. But I think Pat Vernon will be playing basically the role of Tony Pollard this past campaign. And I think he can handle that. This will be the starting offensive line. For the defense, you know, we'll shuffle it around a little bit. I think Dwight deserves more playing time, and he's gonna get it, and he's gonna get a lot of it, to be honest with you guys. We're sticking with the same 5 corners, same safeties, just about. The linebacking core obviously will change. This is just the best generated team. So this is gonna be the roster here. So let's go sim to week 1. And this will be our schedule for this new campaign entering into year 5. We start off here with the Indianapolis Colts. We have the Dallas Cowboys, the Commanders, who we just played. A variety of teams. It looks like, I believe we were playing so we have the AFC North, the NFC East, the Dolphins, the Lions, and the Broncos. So we don't see KC. We don't see, I guess we do see the Bengals. They should be on this schedule. Yeah, we do. So a couple tough matchups here. Obviously, no KC, but we start off with a doozy here versus the Indianapolis Colts. So we put the roster to the 53-man. I hope you guys are excited. I'm gonna be hiring the scouting and all of that. I'll put together the starting lineup. But guys, I really do hope you enjoyed the preseason. Please leave a like, comment down below what you thought, and don't forget to subscribe. And I will see you in the next one.